Hey, what is going on guys, it is Telurik here, and in today's video we are going to be ranking every single gun in the Call of Duty Cold War beta. Now this video took an insane amount of time to make, so please a like on this would be extremely appreciated, and while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. It only takes a second out of your day, but it makes mine 100 times better. Now this video, as I said, did take a lot of time to make because obviously I had to play with all of the guns in the beta, and even though I was able to play the beta for I think up to 15 hours in total, I still wasn't able to play with absolutely every single gun as much as I would have liked to. Also, please take into consideration that everyone's playstyle is slightly different, and so a gun that I've ranked quite low, you might think deserves to be ranked higher. If that's the case, then be sure to go down in the comments down below and tell me where you think I went wrong. Where we all play differently, we all enjoy different guns, and this is my personal opinion, even though I think there are a few that are indisputably better than others. But let's get straight into the list. Coming in at the number 21 and number 20 spot, we have both the RPGs, the Sigma and the RPG-6. Now, there is one main reason for why they are ranked here, and that is they're not designed to be used in multiplayer against other people who are crouch spamming, jump spamming, sliding, playing the game attached to an IV drip. You get what I mean. They're designed to destroy vehicles, and they do that very efficiently. However, in this list, we are really going to be looking at guns that you would use against other players, and for that main reason, I really can't put them that much higher. Now, whilst a case can be made for the RPG-6, since it doesn't have the lock-on ability, it's still extremely situational, and there were times where I swear I hit someone point blank with it, and it just did not take them down. So, for now, I think number 21 and number 20 is fair. Moving on to the number 19 spot, we have the Magnum. Now, personally, I think the Magnum is just a bit terrible. It's got extremely low handling, very high recoil, the iron sights are disgusting, and honestly, for a final unlock pistol, all of those downsides really don't have that many positives. It doesn't have a lot of ammo in the clip, and the damage just does not compensate for the downsides, and it's for that reason that it's the number 19 spot. In the number 18 spot, we have the Diamatti Burst Pistol. Now trust me, I really wanted to rank this gun higher, because the Diamatti is an absolute monster of a pistol, especially for a secondary. However, I simply cannot justify it being any higher than in the number 18 spot, mainly because of two main reasons. Number one, it's a burst, and that means that it can be very inconsistent, especially since it's a pistol. It doesn't deal as much damage as the other burst weapons in the game, and for that reason, sometimes you'll one-burst people, and sometimes you'll be shooting them with peas. The second reason for why I think the Diamatti should be in the number 18 spot is that there is not a single kill that I got with that pistol that I don't think I could have gotten with any of the other guns above it, except for a few exceptions. And it's for those two main reasons that I'm putting the Diamatti pistol in the number 18 spot. In the number 17 and the number 16 spot, we have the Stoner LMG and the QBZ Assault Rifle. Now, the reason I've sort of paired them together is because I have the same issue with both of them. The handling is quite low, they have mediocre range, they have mediocre damage, and overall they're just kind of meh as a whole. And it's a shame because they're both really interesting weapons. The only reason the Stoner is placed one spot above the QBZ is because with the Stoner, you have 100 rounds in the magazine, whilst with the QBZ, you only have 30. They're just both very mediocre guns, and I think 17 and 16 is a fair spot to put them, especially when all of the other guns in their category are, well, superior. In the number 15 spot and the number 14 spot, we have the AK-74U and the AK-47. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I really did not like the AK-74U. Maybe I was running the wrong class setup, maybe I was playing the wrong map or the wrong game mode, but I really did not like the weapon. It just was not finishing kills, and I was constantly losing gunfights. Now, whilst the same can be said for the AK-47, I think that since the SMG class is so much stronger than the assault rifle class, I really think there are just better options in both categories. But the AK-74U puts you at more of a disadvantage if you were to pick it than if you were to pick the AK-47. Anyway, I think this spot is fair for them. They're both usable guns, I just really did not enjoy my time with them, and this is where they are on my list. If you disagree, then tell me in the comments down below. Coming in at the number 13 spot, we have the Hauer Pump Action Shotgun. Now, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that gun, but honestly, it's not as bad as a lot of people say it is. I actually really enjoyed using the pump action. Then again, I didn't really use it all that much, and it was only really on one map, because halfway through my gameplay with the gun, the beta ended and I got booted off, so I really was only able to play like one game with it, but I found that I was consistently able to one-shot people, and when I wasn't one-shotting them, I was two-shotting them, and honestly, it was just a very fun and enjoyable weapon to use. Now, in the number 12 spot, we have the RPD LMG. Now, the RPD, in my opinion, is just a better version of the Stoner LMG. It has a larger magazine size, it deals more damage to vehicles, it has better handling. I found that I was getting more kills with it, and honestly, it just felt better to use. But then again, that may just be my playstyle, or it may just have been a few good games that I was having with it. But personally, I just really enjoyed it more, and I think it's better than all of the guns I've listed so far, which is why I think it sits comfortably at the number 12 spot. Okay, now the next three are going to be a little bit confusing, but I'll explain why I've put them as I have in a second. In the number 11 spot, there's the Tundra Sniper Rifle. In the number 10 spot, there's the Type 63. And in the number 9 spot, there's the Pellington Sniper Rifle. Now, here's the thing. If I had it my way, I definitely would have put the Type 63 above both sniper rifles. However, unfortunately, as someone listing the guns, I do have to take into consideration the opinions of others and not just my own. Remember what I said at the start of the video? Yeah, my playstyle really does not suit the sniper rifle gameplay, but I cannot say that I have not been killed hundreds of times by the sniper rifles during my experience with the beta, and I feel like I would get so much hate and backlash if I did not honor them in the top 15. The reason I put the Pellington above the Tundra is because I found myself getting killed constantly by the Pellington, and during my experience with the Tundra, I found that I was getting too many hit markers, and I really was not having a good time. And in the number 10 spot, the Type 63, in between them, it's a tactical rifle that in my opinion is really underrated. This thing absolutely destroys at medium range. It 3 shots, 4 shots at pretty much any range, and it's just a really great gun to use. It feels really satisfying, and if you're accurate with it, then you can definitely destroy people. Now, that's really my reasoning for putting the Tundra in the number 11 spot, the Type 63 in the number 10, and the Pellington in the number 9. But let's move onwards to the number 8 spot, and I just want to say that everything from here on out is an absolutely incredible weapon that you should definitely consider making a class for. But without further ado, in the number 8 spot, there is the Gallo semi-automatic shotgun, or the Spas. It's literally a Spas, it looks like a Spas. This thing is an absolute monster at close range. It will pretty much one-shot anything within extremely close range, 2-shot anything within close range, and 3 to 4-shot anything at even up to medium range. And considering the fire rate on this thing, it's not something you want to mess with. The fact that it's a secondary as well makes it so that you can run it with pretty much any gun. So for example, you can run the Type 63 and the Gallo as a secondary, and you can pretty much cover all of the ranges and absolutely destroy. This is a gun that really does not have that many downsides, but if I did have to think of one, it would be the fact that it's a shotgun, which seems very contradicting to the praise I've just given it. Let me explain. If you were to use the Gallo as a primary, I really don't think you would have all too good of a time. It's great, but at the same time, with a lot of the maps that were in the beta, like Miami and Satellite, there were a lot of open spaces, and therefore you really need to use it as a secondary and complement it with something like an assault rifle or an SMG. It's for that main reason that I really can't put it much higher than any of the other guns, because all of the guns above the Gallo can perform equally well as a primary or as something to rely on. and it's for that main reason that the Gallo is in the number 8 spot, but I look forward to seeing it at launch. Now, in the number 7 spot, we have the XM4 Assault Rifle. Now, the XM4 is just overall a really good gun. There's no real other way to describe it. It is your average Call of Duty M4. It has a good fire rate, it has good recoil, it has good range, and it has good damage. It's just very standard and very usable. But at the end of the day, I really don't think that it's better than a lot of the other guns above it, even though a case can definitely be made. Honestly, for the XM4, I think putting it in the number 7 spot is fair. It definitely deserves to be in the top 10, but overall it's just a pretty uninteresting weapon, to be honest. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Now, in the number 6 and the number 5 spot, we have an interchangeable, and that is the MP5 and the KSP, both of which are SMGs. Now, I'll first explain why I think the KSP is definitely one of the better SMGs in the SMG class. The KSP just destroys people at close range, medium range, and sometimes even long range. Because it's a burst, it means that it has a lot less recoil than a lot of the other guns, which means that it's very viable at those longer ranges, while something like an MP5 or an AK-74U would struggle. However, going back to what we said about the Diamatti burst pistol, it also means that it can be quite inconsistent. However, during my gameplay with the KSP, I found that I was reliably hitting 1 bursts, and even if I wasn't, I was leaving them so low that I could finish them off with any other gun. And I'm gonna be 100% honest here, my main reason for putting the KSP so high up is that it was very fun to use. One of the only guns actually in the beta that I was running, and I was like, hey, this is good, and it's very enjoyable. It's not broken, it does take a bit of skill, but once you can get past it being a burst, you can really see why it's so beneficial. However, the MP5 also just exists, and I think that I would definitely be gutted alive if I didn't say that the MP5 was one of the best SMGs in the category. Some people say it is the best SMG in the category, but personally that spot is reserved for the number 4 gun, which I'll go into shortly. I feel about the MP5 the same way I feel about the XM4. They're both very good, reliable guns, and they're both primary unlocks. However, there's nothing inherently special about them, and it's for that reason that I decided to put the MP5 in the number 6 spot and the KSP in the number 5 spot. But let's move on to the number 4 spot, which in my opinion is the best SMG in the category, and that is the Milano SMG. Again, I probably butchered the way the name is supposed to be pronounced, but honestly, the Milano is just a monster. You can just look at the background gameplay to find out that even a skilled sod like me was able to use it and absolutely destroy. It's just incredible. The extra damage it has over the other SMGs means that it can be used at longer range. The recoil is practically non-existent, it has a quick reload, and its handling is very high. There's honestly pretty much no negative to using the Milano, and I definitely think that it is the best SMG in the category, and that you should definitely give it a try when the game releases. But in my opinion, there are still 3 guns that are better than the Milano SMG. In the number 3 spot, we have what is in my opinion the best secondary in the game, and that is the 1911 pistol. The 1911 is, without a doubt, number 3 on this list. It's a secondary, which means you can use it at any time. It has an incredibly fast fire rate if you can pull the trigger quick enough. It's got the same amount of damage as the Type 63, and it can be used at incredibly long ranges. I am not joking when I say that this pistol is a pocket DMR. This thing is an absolute monster in all situations and can pretty much 1 to 2 shot people if one of those shots is a headshot, and 3 shot people at pretty much any range. Honestly, there is no negative to running this as a pistol, and in my opinion, it is indisputably the best secondary in the game. But I digress. Let's get on to the number 2 spot, which may come as a surprise to a few of you. But in the number 2 spot, I have decided to put the M16 tactical rifle. Now, this probably comes as a surprise because, I'm gonna be honest, I think a lot of you expected it to be in the number 1, but it isn't. It is in the number 2, and the main reason for that is that it is a burst weapon, and that means that as I've said with all of the previous burst weapons, there is a certain level of inconsistency with it. Sometimes you're going to be one-bursting people, and sometimes you're not going to be doing as much damage as you would have liked. And this inconsistency gap just keeps on getting bigger. The further away people are, the more they're moving, and the more they're accustomed to shooting you back. What I'm trying to say is that the more people play the game, the less effective the M16 is going to be. This game is a lot more mobile than Modern Warfare 2019. People are sliding, people are jumping, people are crouch spamming, and a gun that does not have a continuous stream of bullets is just going to naturally be at a disadvantage. However, having said that, the M16 is an incredible gun, and aside from the fact that it's a burst, it pretty much has no disadvantages. And it is for that reason that I think the M16 is the second best gun in the game. In my opinion, it's only beaten out by one gun, and that is the number 1 spot. Did you guess it? Well, you should have by now, since it's the only gun we haven't talked about, and that gun is the Krig 6. Now, the Krig 6 is, in my opinion, the best assault rifle in the game. It's just straight up better than the XM4. It's got great damage, great fire rate, no recoil, it's got access to what is, in my opinion, the best sights in the game. It doesn't have that level of inconsistency that comes with the M16, because with the Krig you're constantly shooting, which means you can lock on to moving targets a lot quicker, and it's a lot easier to use. Basically, it takes less skill, and we all like guns that take less skill, I think. But anyway, what do you guys think about my list? Do you agree with it, or do you disagree with it? Should I have moved a few things around, or do you think I'm way off the mark and don't know what I'm talking about? Tell me everything about your opinion in the comments down below, because, as always, my opinion is just one of many, and I want to hear all about yours in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. As I said, it really helps me out, and I do upload every Saturday, so there's always going to be content here for you guys to watch. My name has been Telurik. Have a good one.